dot in a red state, trying to talk some sense. Always shoots it straight, he don't straddle no fence. A common man with a real plan, he's a friend to you and me. A long shot from the Lone Star, he's the voice that we need. Better vote like there's no tomorrow, 'cause friend, our future's on the line. We can't stay silent and we can't back down. We can't sit this one out this time. If you want a man who'll take a stand, talk straight and walk tall, it's time to ride or die and get behind old Texas Paul.
Howdy, folks. How you doing? Welcome. We've got an impromptu edition of Monday Coffee with Texas Paul, but we've got a lot to talk about. And while we kill a few minutes waiting for the room to populate, I just want to mention that tomorrow I will be on Tony Michael's show. We'll be talking about somebody I am very, very, very proud of, Bread Cross, with chokes me up a little bit to talk about him, and I apologize for that. He is everything Texas. I don't know what his politics is one bit. I don't, and it doesn't matter because of what he's done. He's the father of Uzziah Garcia. He's done an amazing thing down in Uvalde, and we're going to be talking about it tomorrow on the Tony Michaels podcast. I hope you can join us. I join him at about the bottom of the hour every Tuesday for a segment talking about Texas politics and things going on here. All right, folks, we're starting to get a few people in here. Let's go ahead and get started about what we want to talk about. The main thumb that I've got in my eye tonight that's made me just have to do this is I want to share a little bit of, I'm going to go ahead and pull it up on the screen for you. Won't take but a second. I want to talk about Devlin Barrett over at the Washington Post. You see his name on the byline there. And if you look below it, you can see when this article was published. This article was published the day of the Florida primary at 11 o'clock in the morning. And every national news outlet, and I mean every, we're talking about all the way down to PBS, ran with it. One problem is so far it seems to be complete bullshit. Let me read the first paragraph to you and explain why it's complete bullshit. Career prosecutors have recommended against charging Rep. Matt Gaetz in a long-running sex trafficking investigation, telling Justice Department superiors that a conviction is unlikely, in part because of credibility questions with two central witnesses, according to people familiar with the matter. Okay. Let's talk about what's wrong with that. I happen to be intimately familiar with a few special agents, and I will tell you, no prosecutor has this conversation within earshot of anybody they can hear, and they damn sure would not go to the press with it. What this is there is a meeting before any prosecution. And in that meeting, they have prosecutors, and then they bring in other prosecutors. They present the case, the evidence, and they have the other prosecutors tear it down as best they can. It's an exercise just to see how bulletproof their case is. It happens in every high-profile case. This is a load of bullshit, what was represented here. And I'll continue reading. Senior department officials have not made a final decision on whether to charge Gaetz, but it is rare for such advice to be rejected. These people told the Washington Post. Speaking on the condition of anonymity to discuss the deliberations. Bingo. These people. Who are these people? Well, it's obviously not the prosecutors working on the case. They would not comment to the press. I don't know if you have noticed, but Merrick Garland runs a completely airtight, hermetically sealed ship. There aren't leaks out of the DOJ. It just doesn't happen. That's problem one. That article is bullshit. And every last news organization ran with it because it was Devlin Barrett. And that's a problem because Devlin Barrett, up until this, had a pretty good reputation. Well, so did Maggie Haberman until she went all in on the Trumps. And I got to tell you, I got to tell you, it gets worse from here. Let me pull up another document for you. This one is even worse. Okay, the timing of this is an October surprise, October 6th. That is exactly from the window of October 5th to 10th is when the October surprises drop. And that's exactly what this is. And this is even worse. Let me read the first paragraph to you. Federal agents investigating President Biden's son, Hunter, have gathered what they believe is sufficient evidence to charge him with tax crimes and a false statement related to a gun purchase. According to people familiar with the case. Let me repeat that. According to people familiar with the case. Folks, that could be you. There is no qualifier in the press world for people familiar with the case. You've got to understand the chain of custody for this, and we're not even talking about a laptop anymore. This is a portable hard drive, okay? That they're pulling this off of. A portable hard drive. This isn't even Hunter Biden's laptop they're talking about anymore. But people familiar with the case can be anybody in the journalistic world. I can be people familiar with the case because I read some articles on it. So let me continue. The next step is for the U.S. Attorney in Delaware, a Trump administration holdover, to decide whether to file such charges, these people said. All right. I need to explain to you how this works. This is old Hunter Biden. This is the article. I don't know if you can squint hard enough to read it, but it is also a load of horse shit. The agents involved in this investigation spoke to no one. Like I said, Merrick Garland runs a hermetically sealed organization. These agents spoke to no one. They didn't even speak to their pals that they work with. Okay? This is the son of a president. A normal, regular, everyday investigation. They don't share details on with agents they're not working with. And I need you to focus on the verbiage. Federal agents investigating President Biden's son have gathered what they believe to be is sufficient evidence to charge him with tax crimes and false statements related to a gun purchase, according to people familiar with the case. There is so much wrong with that. I've already talked about the quote, people familiar with the case part. The second part is every time a special agent investigates something, if they find anything they think is chargeable, they don't make that decision. That's not what they do. Special agents aren't prosecutors. They're not judges. They're investigators. They're moles. They go out and they dig through for us. They dig through what's out there for us. And then they take what they found to a prosecutor. A prosecutor looks at what they find and decides whether it's chargeable or not. That's the way it works. Now, when you're talking about the old Matt Gaetz case, what they're trying to imply and why it's so bad is they're trying to say because Joel Greenberg lied about something at one point that he's completely has no credibility, yada, yada, yada. Well, that's bullshit too, because they wouldn't rely on Joel Greenberg alone. The man has admitted to sleeping with minors, paying minors for sex, and paying minors to sleep with Matt Gaetz. He's also stolen from his employer. This is not a paragon of virtue. They have his text messages. They have additional information around him to validate his story. That's what makes it credible, not the witness himself. So the Matt Gaetz story is complete crap, and it was dropped the morning of the Florida primaries. The Hunter Biden story was dropped as an October surprise, and it is complete and utter bullshit. To understand how bad this is, you have to go back and you have to look at the chain of custody of this information and what's happened with it. This information was given by some guy in Delaware to Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani gave it to a Republican activist named Jack Maxey. Jack Maxey is the one that linked it. And if you want to know where Jack Maxey is, let me share that with you. You're going to get a good laugh out of this. Take me just a moment to pull this up, folks. You're going to love this. And I apologize for the delay. There you go. Jack Maxey, the guy that handed over has been spilling information on Hunter Biden to the press that the press have been lapping up and spreading out to all of you, has fled to Switzerland. Why Switzerland? Because he cannot be extradited from Switzerland. Why would he care about that? Why would he think he has a problem? Well, let me bring this up for you, and it'll explain it all. And you'll understand exactly how much bullshit this is. While the Washington Post was breaking its October surprise, they knew it was complete Bullshit. This is Philip Bump. Philip, he's a reporter for the Washington Post, and he's a straight shooter. Jack Maxey, before fleeing to Switzerland, came out publicly and said, trying to CYA his own ass to keep from being sued into oblivion. If you care to read the article, Jack Maxey said, well, you can't trust what we turned over. You can't trust what we turned over. Everything we turned over has been tampered with. There have been files added to it before we released it and after we released it. So, no. That is the kind of thing that the FBI would take to a prosecutor, and a prosecutor would laugh them out of the room. That kind of chain of custody is completely unacceptable. You have a hard drive that they know has been tampered with. They are not taking that to court at all for any reason. That case will never see the light of day. So why did Devlin Barrett and the Washington Post decide to run with it? That I can't answer you, folks. I don't know. I'd love to hear your suppositions on why they did it. But I do know that everyone from PBS to ABC to NBC to Fox to The Independent, The Guardian, every major news outlet in the world ran with Devlin Barrett's story, which is a load of horse shit. I mean, it is complete garbage. It's got that same bar. People familiar with the case. Who the hell are people familiar with the case? That could be anybody. That could be you. That could be me. That could be a secretary that works for the DOJ that thought she heard something. It's a load of crap, people. It is a pure load of crap. And I, for one, want answers. I want the Washington Post to answer for this one. This is from a guy who wrote a book chastising. Devlin Barrett wrote a book called The October Surprise, absolutely chastising James Comey for doing what Devlin Barrett himself just did. And the Washington Post went with it. I want to know why. As somebody that works with Midas Touch and the independent news media that doesn't fall for this shit, we did not print this crap. We did not print this crap. Why did the rest of the news media just fall for it? Every single article says, according to Devlin Barrett at the Washington Post, this is what's happening. Why do you think? I want to know why you in the audience think that they allowed themselves to absolutely destroy their reputations, starting with Devlin Barrett and the Washington Post. This is the worst kind of yellow journalism. And it is an October surprise. Why did they allow themselves to do it? We will come back to that. We actually have another story that's just come to my attention. I want to bring it to your attention. I will actually share a link for this on Twitter. This is in PDF format. It is just amazing to see. We now know why the Saudis are in bed so tightly with the Republican Party. If you go down to page 4, or pardon me, page 5, Saudi hay farmers Fondamante. What's going on, and I'll give you the Cliff's Notes of it. Republican Governor Doug Ducey is taking advantage of a situation that was created decades ago. The Federal Bureau of Land Management controls massive amounts of land out in the West. You remember the Bundys and all those freaks having their fits about the Bureau of Land Management and owning land. Well, folks, this is what happens when the Bureau of Land Management turns over land to the states. They turned over massive swaths of Arizona back to Arizona, and it is controlled by the Arizona commissioner that's appointed by the governor for the Secretary of Land Management. This story is just gobsmacking. It's illegal in the state of Arizona to export water. They are desperate for water in the state of Arizona. So they found a loophole. Doug Ducey, I call him Douchey, and Lisa Atkins, his little reek, who's responsible for the Commission on Land Management in Arizona, have been leasing massive swaths of farmland to foreign entities, fundamentally being owned by the Saudis, where they're growing water-intensive crops on the land that they lease. They're growing all kinds of nuts and alfalfa, high-grade feeds, utilizing the water they're pumping out of the aquifer outside of Phoenix, Arizona. They're pumping so much water that local Arizonans' wells are going dry. They're literally exporting what they call virtual water. They've got pistachio farms that are so big that if you stand on one end of the farm, it curves over the horizon and you can't see the end of the farm. And pistachio trees require massive amounts of water. There are green swaths in the desert outside Phoenix where they're growing a high-grade dairy feed like alfalfa and various grasses that they just harvest and export back to Saudi Arabia. They can't export the water, but they can grow the product in Arizona and export the products that they grow with the water. They're literally not using their resources by using our resources. And get this, they're doing it for free. You got that right. You heard me right. Fondamante is leasing the land that it grows alfalfa on for $25 an acre. $25 an acre. And with that lease comes unlimited pumping out of the aquifer. It's over. And they won't report how much water they're pumping. People have done estimates on the amount of alfalfa they grow and harvest, and they say it's about $5.5 million worth of water a year, but they're paying nothing for it, and they're drying up local Arizonans' wells. It's kind of hard to grow alfalfa in Saudi Arabia, considering Saudi Arabia is a desert with shitty soil and no water. So they're using ours. And Republicans like Doug Ducey are more than happy to give away our people's resources and leave our people, the Arizonans he's supposed to be representing, out in the cold without water, having to pay a fortune. If you live in Phoenix, the cost of water is insanely high. It's insanely high how much they pay for water, and it's because they're forcing everybody in the city of Phoenix, Arizona, to conserve water so the Saudis can have it for free. That should be the October surprise. That should be the story that we're talking about in every news outlet, not this Hunter Biden bullshit that Devlin Barrett should be humiliated over. The Washington Post should be humiliated over. This is a fact. This is Americans being fucked over so that Saudis don't have to use their own precious resources. Yeah, come on over, guys. Republicans will let you take all the resources you want from our people so you don't have to take it from yours. Thank you, Benaloco. You have the best comments. You have the best comments. And yes, it's been going on in California as well. California has huge water problems in the valley, and you know, they call it almond milk. Let's be honest, it's almond juice. Just doesn't sound as good when you say almond juice. They've been growing massive amounts of almonds in California that are completely unsustainable. And then you have the problem with Indian reservations and Pepsi. You know, that Dasani water that Pepsi likes to sell. They got a lease from the Indian nation to pump water, which is drying up wells on the Indian nation. And then there's no damn thing we can do about it. I think it's about time we started thinking about renationalizing resources. And if old Cliven Bundy or Eamon Bundy don't like it, well, I got an answer for that. Can't say it out loud because it'll get my live shut down, but I got an answer for that. I think you folks can guess what I'm thinking. I am sick and tired of the American people taking the ass end of every situation because Republicans are willing to fuck us over at every turn. They've done it over healthcare. They've done it over our national resources. They've done it over, Jesus Christ, they sit there and guzzle Putin's balls. When that man works day and night to fuck our country over. It is just one problem after another with these Republicans, and it's about damn time that we do something about it. And yes, I don't eat almonds anymore. I do. That is a California issue that I absolutely despise. I want to clean up my own backyard. I refuse to eat almonds. I won't eat candy bars with almonds in them. I don't eat candy with almonds in it. Damn sure don't drink almond milk. I may not be able to outspin their lobbying organizations, but I sure as hell can say, fuck your product. So anyways, as with every program, I just wanted to share those things that were going on. And I'll put a link to that PDF. It covers 7 major situations in which we're allowing foreign countries to utilize our resources to the detriment of our own people. I will definitely put a link to it in Twitter, but it's worth a read. It's only 10 pages. It's large print. But as we close out every show, I'd love to hear questions from you guys. Feel free, throw them out there. Absolutely, Brennan. That is absolutely how we make a difference. We do it ourselves. I'm not waiting on anybody to fix my problems. I do it myself. I don't, my wife and I were in Michael's the other day. You may have seen the TikTok I released with the zombie rat. I'm going to go back and buy one of those. I swear to God, I am. Zombie squirrel. I don't shop at Hobby Lobby. I don't spend my money there. Before they became such religious freaks, I used to love to go to Hobby Lobby. I did. Love the modeling section, and Mrs. Texas Paul used to go through the silk flowers there, all her little hobby programs. We used to be big Hobby Lobby customers, but I will be goddamned if I will spend a nickel in that store. Same with Home Depot. I am not waiting for people to fix problems for me. I fix it myself. Colton's good question. Actually, he didn't skip the debate. He just refused in advance to have any more debates because he's a coward. He got his ass beat so bad he is not going to have another debate with Beto O'Rourke. It's political suicide. I did watch the debate tonight with Tim Ryan and J.D. Vance, and at one point I was screaming at Tim Ryan, "Get off him, man! Get off him! Jesus Christ, this is a crime." This may be a crime. I mean, Tim Ryan beat J.D. Vance so bad. I swear to God, I was hoping they were going to check J.D. Vance's pulse afterwards. I do not know why these MAGA people show up to these debates. I really don't. They know they're full of shit, and they know they're not going to be able to survive these debates. And Tim Ryan beat J.D. Vance like a damn drum. I agree with you. Not all farmers are bad, but I tell you what's going on in California is just a damn crime. It is a damn crime. And I'm sorry, I just don't eat almonds because the bulk of almonds come out of California. I don't. California is a democratic state. If we don't clean up our own backyards first, what the hell are we doing? Tim Ryan beat J.D. Vance like a drum to it. I swear to God. Oh, look, we got a shitbird troll that came into the audience. My moderator must be taking a break. So, anyways, it's getting kind of quiet, and the questions aren't coming out that damn quickly. So, if we don't have any more questions, we're going to wrap this up, folks. Feel free to throw any out there that you have. Thanks for that information, Elizabeth. I appreciate you. Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't stay out of California. I like South California. It's a great state. It really is. I mean, just if you like beautiful things, you will love California. If you've never been to see, I mean, everything from north to south, California is amazing. It's a lot like Texas. I mean, depending on where you're standing in the state, you're seeing something different. I mean, where I'm at, I live in a forest. I mean, it's just something that's just magical as far as forests are concerned. I'm talking about trees 70, 80 feet tall. But if you drive 2 hours to the west, you are in the Great Plains. And that goes all the way down to south of Waco, north of San Antonio. And that's when you run into the Mexican desert. South Texas is all Mexican desert. It is beautiful to see. It is amazing. The sunsets are pink and purple and yellow and gorgeous. It's an amazing thing to see. But if you keep driving west, you run into the Davis Mountains. California is the exact same way. You start down at the south. You've got grasslands down there. It's LA, that area, you've got the coast, it's beautiful. Down in the valley is just lush and green and gorgeous. And then you keep moving north and you run into the wineland. Run into San Francisco area, and you've got the bay there that's just beautiful to look at. San Francisco itself is amazing. Then you go north, you've got the Sonoma and Napa valleys that are just incredible. If you've never done taken any trips to California, you can't do each of them at the same time. You've got to do the Sonoma Valley one trip and Napa the other, unless you're just amazingly rich and have months to spend. But California is incredible. Then you keep going north and you run into the redwood and sequoia forests. And I'm telling you folks, if you have never stood next to a sequoia tree, it can't be explained. It's like trying to explain to someone just that you can't. It's just, you expect dinosaurs to walk around the corner. It's almost disconcerting, the scale of things. It's amazing. You have to see it. You have to see it. California, I never badmouth California. I know a lot of Texans that never travel and run their sewer mouths, right-wing Texans. They'll badmouth California, but I love the state. I do. Enjoy your trip. LA is an amazing place. It's not my favorite part of California, but it is an amazing place. My favorite part of when we went down to LA is when we went out to the coast and went to the beach. We went to Muscle Beach. That is an interesting. In Venice Beach is amazing. It is amazing, especially when you see old hillbilly with a cowboy hat standing out there. I'm as much of a sideshow as everything else that's going on. It's crazy out there. It is really crazy. It is a sight to see. If you've never been to Venice Beach, you got to go. You know, you don't know what you're talking about. You really don't. So why don't you have a big old glass of shut the fuck up and go away? I appreciate you, Robin. We're about to call it quits, anyways. Um, it's getting late, and I respect your time. I really do. I know your time is valuable. I don't like to just leave a bunch of dead out there air out there, but I want to give people chances to throw some questions out. And one lowly little troll that's full of shit just isn't a problem. You're wonderful, Robin. I appreciate you. Yes, he is. He actually gives a shit about his people. And then that is rare as far as politicians go. He cares what happens to his people. Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker. Thank you for bringing that up. Oh my God. Where to start on Herschel Walker? I've got a piece coming out. It's on my editor's desk over at Midas Touch. And I don't want to cover too much of it, but I will tell you this. There's a lot wrong with Herschel Walker, a lot that he's done wrong. He pointed a gun at his wife's head. He's insane. He's stupid. He's got a brain full of oatmeal. He is violent. He is an absentee dad. He's a hypocrite. There's just a lot he's done. But this last shit with John Lewis, let me tell you a little something about John Lewis. And like I said, I don't want to get too far into it because I've got a video coming out about this. But John Lewis is everything I've ever wanted to be. He was brave to a fault. He didn't talk smack, he walked it. He didn't just fight to make America a better place for African Americans. He specifically tried to lift us all, make us all love each other. You know, those people that say all lives matter. Well, John Lewis lived that. He was an amazing man. He was a good father. He was authentic. He cared about his constituents. He put his life on the line for what he believed in. And to have Herschel Walker walking around stealing his life story, literally verbatim, taking John Lewis's life story and repeating them as his own. At the epitome of Herschel Walker's life, he was a fucking entertainer. He was a football player. He was an entertainer. That was the zenith of his life. And since then, he has done nothing but be a fucking joke of a stereotype. He is the stereotype that every white racist tries to hang around the neck of every black man. And goddamn Herschel Walker to hell for doing it. And that's all I'm going to say on that. Just want to remind folks tomorrow I'll be on the Tony Michaels podcast about 11:30 Central. He always, I mean, some of the best of what you can see as far as covering of any topic. And whatever topic he bites into, he and Gabe Sanchez literally break it down to its fine components and present it in a way that everybody can understand it. They do a fantastic job. And it's always an honor just to be on to talk about local Texas news. I'm going to be talking a little bit about Uvalde tomorrow. So I hope you can join us on the Tony Michaels podcast tomorrow. And as usual, we'll be doing TNT with me and Tennessee Brando on Wednesday at 8 Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. So I hope you can join us, folks. It's been an honor to talk to you tonight. I hope you have a wonderful evening. This is Old Texas Paul out. Thank you for joining me.